Welcome back to Sippin the Dry. I'm Sean, and today I have Tim. Tim, what do you do here in the fly shop?
I am the social media manager as long as the receiving manager.
And you're a huge help to me on the daily basis.
I try to be.
We also have Clay Carter. He is our remote worker, and he is currently in Utah.
Hi, Clay.
That is correct.
How are you,
Thank
sir?
you guys for having me.
Of course. So you moved out to Utah a little less than a year ago. I want to say August.
Yep, last August, mid-August, moved out here. Had a couple of things I had to take care of before I got the fishing license. Probably got it in September, and that's when I really hit the ground running out here, and it's awesome.
Yeah. How long did it take for you to get out on the water in Utah? Once you got your fishing license, of course.
I think, yeah, I just had a couple of things to get in order. Like I had to get my new driver's license to be a resident before I bought a residential fishing license.
Yeah, you
hunting license.
You don't want to pay that out of state.
Buying a 5-year out here.
You don't want to pay that out of state.
I plan on being out here for a while.
Sure.
Well, you look good. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I know. I haven't talked to you guys in a while, but I will be flying back to Ohio, so I'll see you guys in person.
Ooh.
So that's huge.
We're going to have to hit up the local Skyline when you get back.
Always a pleasure to talk with you guys. It's fun.
Can we go to Skyline when you get back?
Absolutely. Yes.
Oh,
Today.
Five conies.
It's a day.
Let's go. All right. Well, you want to get into it, bud? We're going to start grilling you with questions, and
absolutely.
You just
fire
let us
away.
know. All right. So you lived here your entire life. You grew up here.
Yep. Born and raised in Dayton, Ohio.
So moving to Utah, how much of a shock was it? Just changing ponds. Had you ever been there before?
I have flown out to California and did a road trip back to Dayton, stopping in Utah, not to fish, just to kind of sightsee. Mm-hmm. And so I'd like to say I was familiar with it, but not at all. It's kind of crazy because like sometimes I'll forget because it's pretty flat out here in the valley. So I'll be driving and then be like, where? Like, am I in Ohio? And look up and nope, there's a 5,000 foot tall mountain standing behind me.
You mean
definitely culture shock.
You mean there's no cornfields out there?
A lot of farm fields actually. It's actually surprisingly pretty agriculture.
So you get a little bit of Ohio out there.
A little bit, yeah, yeah.
So when you were at home, like you fish the Mad quite often, along with obviously the rivers around here for like smallmouth and whatnot. How does the Mad River compare to streams out there? Besides that, the natural reproduction's actually going on out there.
How do I say this nicely? Night and day. I mean, really, there's over 40 plus blue ribbon trout streams in Utah, and I did a quick Google search today of how many there are in Ohio, and no results found.
Wow.
So it's a whole new world for me. Yeah. Literally had to relearn fishing.
Yeah, because you weren't that much. You weren't that much of a trout fisherman when you left here. You were
not really, because like the bass fishing is actually top tier in Ohio. I think, in my personal opinion. So like, it's kind of like now I'm in a trout population of millions. Like, why do I need to bass fish now? So it's kind of like
the switch.
Yeah, literally everything I knew about fly fishing for bass is now thrown out the window. Trout fishing now. So it's actually a lot of fun because now, like, learning new things, I love that. Like, learning how to delicately present a dry fly to very spooky fish is really fun. I didn't know how addicting it was until I dove head first.
So tell us about your first outing out west. Like, was it not really a culture shock, but like how quickly did you learn how to fish those waters, and like how long did it take you to catch your first fish? Did you catch one your first outing, or did it take you a couple times?
Definitely took a couple times because, like, obviously leaving Ohio, like, I know a lot of people that fish, and if someone's catching something in Ohio, like, I'm asking them, like, hey, not where did you go, but like, what did you use? How was the water? Out here, I had no one. I had to literally drive up the canyon and figure it out on myself. So I think my wife and I just drove up the canyon and saw a bunch of cars at a pull-off. So we're like, okay, we'll start here.
You're a tourist.
Fish till dark, and I noticed quickly that these fish have seen people and they know what a fly looks like.
Oh yeah.
And didn't catch anything. And that was actually the first day I went fishing. I saw a huge moose about 10 yards away from me.
A moose?
Scared the crap out of me. Literally, I thought it was a horse on the trail, and it turned and quartered and looked at me dead on. I was like,
yeah, that'd probably be.
I'm in a whole new world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you probably learn pretty fast. It is a new world.
It's crazy because, like, obviously, again, in Ohio, nothing really. The only people you have to worry about are people.
True.
And then when you go up in the canyon, I've heard multiple people see mountain lions. I am no longer top of the food chain when I'm out fishing.
True.
It makes you, like, after a couple of times, like, you're in the zone, like, casting for a rising trout, don't forget to kind of look up and around every once in a while and then get back to fishing.
I can't imagine.
Kind of weird.
Keeping the eyes in the back of your head.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
It's definitely eerie out there in the evening.
Oh, I bet.
Oh. How hard was it to find, like, fishable water that you could, like, access?
I think I'm pretty lucky where I'm at because the canyon that you'll hear me refer to a lot is
just
national forest. So it's all public land.
You're in Logan.
The whole way up the
right?
canyon, like miles. Like, I think it's probably close to 30 miles of river that is just public for me.
Holy crap. And that's
which I'm super thankful for because I know the big topic at IFTD was while I was down there was, like, problems accessing rivers in Utah. And I couldn't really relate because, like, I have really one river 10 minutes away that I can jump in and literally walk it for miles.
You said that you had 50 blue ribbon trout streams out there. Are you fishing one of those blue ribbon trout streams? What river are you mostly targeting?
I'm fishing the Logan River, which is a blue ribbon trout stream. It's actually native to the Bonneville cutthroat trout, which is
true, like
one of the oldest trouts native to the Americas since, like, going back millions of years ago. When actually my apartment now would be underwater because of the lake.
Yeah.
That was when the freaking dinosaurs were around. That's how long this trout species has been alive here. So that's so cool that I get to fish it.
Yeah, that is wild. That was kind of leads me to my next question. Like, we obviously in the Mad River and whatnot, we have the brown trout, of course.
Yeah.
What other trout species? I know there's browns out there. What other trout species are you targeting out there? What's your favorite as well?
In this specific river, browns and cutthroats. You can get Yellowstone cutthroats pretty close to my home here. You can get there's actually 4 different species of cutthroats, and they have, like, a cool cutthroat slam, like, competition. Like, you pay $20 to the Department of Natural Resources, and if you catch all 4 species of cutthroat trout, you get, like, a pin.
Wow!
Kind of like our Fish
awesome.
Ohio,
like a grand slam for turkey, but grand slam for trout.
Exactly, and it's seasonal. Like, you catch them all within a season, and you get a special reward.
Sure.
We got tiger trout too that are stocked up in the Uintas, like the just mountain lakes, which are super cool.
Those are pretty.
Yeah, they're sick. And then I allegedly hear there's brook trout, so that's my adventure this summer is trying to catch one of those.
There you go. You're still getting off of the runoff from the snowmelt, aren't you?
Yep. There's actually, I'm looking at snow-capped mountains across from me too. So probably here in a week or
right
two,
out your apartment window.
It'll be pretty fishable, but right now I'm not really wasting my time.
True.
I feel it.
It's pretty cold out there. What's the weather like?
Nights can get pretty cold. I mean, close to freezing. But yesterday it was 80 degrees. Today it's mid-50s. But the nights keep that snow frozen on that mountain for a while. So I would say here in a couple of weeks we'll be snow-free.
So, like, let's say you're gearing up. The time's come. You're about to go fishing. You're gearing up. You got your rods together. You're getting your flies together. Getting all your gear packed up. What's your style of fishing that you're going after? Are you going for dry flies? You're like, tonight I'm fishing dry flies. Are you a streamer guy? What kind of water are you looking for when you're driving down and looking at the river, or you're walking down a trail? Like, what water are you looking for, and what kind of fishing are you doing?
Good question, because I'm very much, I'd like to say I'm a traditionalist. So like I go out with one thing in mind, and that's pretty much dry flies. So if I see rising fish, I'm not going to mess around with anything else.
Sure.
Like a true gentleman.
It's just,
like a gentleman.
I may tie a dropper on if I see they're like a bunch of refusals. I might be like, okay, they're probably wanting something just a little bit under the surface. And this spring before the runoff, that's what I had the most success doing. A couple dry fly eats, but mostly a merger about a foot dropper off of that. As far as where I'm targeting them, it's crazy because like I've seen it in shows and never actually seen it in real life, is where like you can actually see, oh, this fish is actively feeding on the surface.
Wow.
And then go a little farther up the stream, you can see, oh, this fish is actively seeking nymphs on the bottom. So you can really pick and choose what you want to do.
Wow.
So like I pass those fish, I'm like, oh, that guy isn't even looking at the surface. I'm gonna keep going.
Sure.
Which, again, I'm fortunate enough to do that.
You have that option.
But,
that's awesome.
So the water
that also makes targeting these dry fly fish a lot easier, because I kind of, before, like when I'm looking at the winding stream ahead of me, I kind of can see the ripples and the rock formations in the river, where I know, yep, right up there's going to be a trout.
Mm-hmm.
Right on the other side of this rock, right where the current's breaking it, and I know there's going to be a fish there. I just got to get in front of him.
Yep. Got to present it correctly.
Yeah, because that one thing I've noticed with browns, you can probably miss them 2 or 3 times, and then they'll eat it a 4th time. The cutthroat, your first cast is the best cast, and if you miss them, you may as well just keep moving on.
Wow, finicky.
Yeah,
Very
but
particular.
you can probably go back later in the day, but like, yeah, you get one cast out of them, and you got to keep moving.
Wow. All right. So you moved out there, from the Midwest here in Southwest Ohio. What's the culture like around here? You know, we have the trout bum, which we talked about a little bit. They're a little closed-lipped. They don't like to let it out. What's different out there with the people?
I think it's definitely closer to the majority of anglers are fly anglers.
Wow.
Which I think in the Midwest is not true.
Yeah.
A lot of gear. I mean, that's definitely the majority. That's not even debatable.
Yeah.
Here it's probably pretty close to dead even, if not ticking more to the fly angler. So definitely a lot more open people. I know myself when I go out, if someone's like, hey, did you catch anything? I'm like, yeah, I caught him on this. Here's what you got to do if you want to be successful. And whether they take your advice or not, that's up to them. I've also heard horror stories. I've heard people down south of me, get in fights over a spot of river. So you got definitely,
brown in there.
I don't know if you call that more passionate anglers, but
good word.
Literally some guy claimed his spot using bear spray on a human. So
good.
Wow, that
is
aggressive.
It is incredible.
It's only fly fishing
definitely,
at the end of the day.
We are just fly fishing. We're out having fun.
Exactly. The river is not yours. It's Mother Nature's. So treat it like it is.
Absolutely.
What's the most? Would you say the popular style of fishing out there? Because I know we talk about streamer and fishing and dry fly fishing, and there's also the Euro nymphing thing that is a big craze as of right now. What are you seeing when you see other people in the water? What are you seeing most of?
Definitely dry fly fishing where I'm at is just
top tier.
The size of the river is perfect for it because it's too small for a streamer. Euro nymphing I don't think is as popular as out here yet as I think it could be.
Okay.
Especially the size of the stream, I think it's perfect for Euro nymphing.
Yeah.
It's just, again, it's kind of like why do that when you can throw a dry fly and see a subtle take of a brown trout?
Sure.
That's what I've seen the most is dry flies. But then you get to southern Utah where you get bigger rivers, bigger fish.
Yeah.
I see thousands of posts of people checking streamers.
Yep.
And they're catching hogs. And it's sweet. So I haven't done that yet, just because of the size of my river. Like, I don't need to drive 3-4 hours away when I can catch a dozen brown trout a night on a dry fly.
True.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will get down there on a drift boat and on the Green River, which is another fabulous stream for streamers. But right now, I'm just getting my bearings.
Well, Sean and I have never been out west, let alone fished out west. So when you talk about all this dry fly fishing, we do throw dry flies up in the Mad time to time. Are the hatches different out there? Are we seeing different bugs out west than we would see in the Midwest? What are you trying to imitate when you're going to the river?
So right now, like with this runoff, a lot of BWO hatches, and I'm sure I can't even describe it, how just thick the bugs are. And they literally will cloud over the river.
True.
So it's pretty easy to know, like, oh, these fish are eating this bug. Sulfurs work really well. Like when I first moved here late summer, kind of going into the fall, there was just sulfurs everywhere, just tiny white flies everywhere.
So you said tiny. So we're talking like size 16, 18?
16, 18.
Yeah.
And then I know you said earlier in the conversation that you were throwing droppers and you were having success on droppers. What was your dropper from your point fly?
So this spring I was doing like a parachute sulfur size 16. With my dropper would be like a BWO emerger. Okay. Because that's what was hatching were the blue wing olives.
Like a small.
And good Lord. I didn't see much surface action because they were eating them as they were rising up. Okay. And I just knew that from word of mouth from people. Go into local fly shops too. Like if you don't know what's going on, obviously call us. We can help you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also another local fly shop, like local fishing forums as well. People are always asking and encouraging others to catch fish. So that's what I learned. Like I never fished the spring runoff. In Ohio, you don't have a spring runoff.
So it's from a cornfield.
Literally had to go on Facebook and I saw apparently blue wing olives. So I was like, okay, and that 100% correct. That is all they were eating.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is great. All right. Do you have any tips? Because obviously we're coming out there to see you.
Yeah, we'll see you in the fall.
We've known each other for numerous years before we ever worked here, and we haven't seen you in at least a year. So
almost. It'll be 8 or 9 months, which feels like yesterday I just left. Biggest tip is soft presentation, and you don't need to cast a mile.
Speaking of casting, and gear, let's talk about like your rods that you're using for those presentations. Like when I'm going up to the Mad, I know Sean has the same rods I do. For my streamer rod, I'm using my R8 Core 690, and then for my dry flies, I'm using my 590 Winston Pure. So that's what I use. I always take 2 rods.
The Winston Pure 9'5" weight is, in my eyes, the perfect dry fly rod.
Okay. What do you have that set up with?
I have a click reel by Ross, the Ross Colorado LT. It's one of their older models. And I have the Rio Elite Technical Trout on there, and it casts like a dream.
That's what I have on this.
And I'm not just dry flying with that. At times I can put on an indicator and do a double nymph rig with that and roll cast 30 feet. Wow. Like that rod is killer.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Yeah, it is.
I think also like if you're dry fly fishing, like a Sage Dart would be killer.
Okay.
Ooh. Nice.
That rod would probably be like a 3-weight. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. What rods would you like to try out there?
Sage Dart.
Like
Sage Dart would be sick. Helios, like the 3F. Something a little shorter.
True.
Because there's at some points it gets a little claustrophobic with trees coming over. So that's one thing. If I have a tip for anyone, don't just look at the water for fish. Look up. Because bugs will be hatching, but you may be wanting to back cast, but if there's a tree above you, you can't. And I've learned that the hard way is get in the river, literally look around because you'll spend more times on snagging yourself than you are fishing.
Unfortunately, I do that here, so it's only going to get worse if I come out there. If and when I come out there. All right, bub. Well, hey, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything you would like to add? Anything you want to throw in there for us before we pack our bags?
You guys need to come out here. It's a whole new world.
Yeah.
And there's not just trout fishing. We have tiger muskie right around the corner, which is a hybrid between muskie and pike.
Talked about
smallmouth bass.
Talked about
you have salmon in Idaho, which isn't that far away. And that's the other thing too, is I'm like out here in Utah, you're around Wyoming, Colorado, Montana, Idaho. You're not just stuck in
between Utah. Indiana and Pennsylvania.
Exactly. So I mean, explore, get out there.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to come and we'll make a video for everyone out there, or a couple videos, because if we're out there, we're gonna be fishing.
We're gonna be having fun.
And a lot of it
for sure. Yeah.
I know we talked about already. We have our river reports on our Instagram, and we post them on Facebook as well. We are going to start doing river reports with Clay, so we'll have river reports with some streams out west, as well as our normal river reports from the GMR, Great Miami, the Little Miami, Mad River, and the Stillwater here. So look forward to seeing that, and we're going to get on that in the next couple of weeks with Clay, and we'll have some new information on our website and our social medias to see what's going on out west.
That's going to be great. I love it.
Awesome.
All right. Well, if you haven't yet, like, comment, subscribe on this YouTube video, or if you're listening on Spotify, Amazon.
Rate our Spotify.
Rate it.
You can do that on our podcast.
True. And I need some comments, people. What do you want to hear about? I got good ideas, but I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, Clay, I love you. Be safe out there.
Thank you, Clay.
Yeah, guys, thank you very much. It was fun. Let's do it again.
Of course.
Tim, we got work and fishing to do.
Yeah, we do.
We'll see you guys later.
See you later.